Some instructors like to have all of the content opened up for all the students to see on day one, everything all at once. Other instructors find that students might work too fast. They might move through all 8 weeks of content in the first 2 weeks, which could be fine, but you might have issues of students misunderstanding things, working too fast and forgetting the old stuff. So you might want to control the flow of information. I'm going to show you now some quick and easy ways that you could do that. The first way is just by controlling published or unpublished. So items inside Canvas are only viewable by students if they're published. So in modules anyway, we can quickly see that they're published because they have the green check. If I click on that green check, I've now turned it into an unpublished item. Students cannot see this anymore. Turn it off. I don't want students to get to the quiz yet. We'll just turn it off. Okay. You can also do that inside the item. So I'm going inside the discussion now, and it is currently published. So I can unpublish from inside there. Assignments and pages and quizzes have a slightly different screen, so I'll show you that quickly. It's a much bigger button. I like that better. So unpublish or publish to control that assignment. The next method for controlling the flow is found at the bottom of almost every content item inside of Canvas discussion. So you just move down to the bottom, the very bottom of the page, and you're going to see this assign access box. So we are caring about right now the available from. The available from is going to set when is this object going to open up to student viewing. So I can say that it's not going to open up until the 24th of February at 2 p.m. The students will not be able to click into this object until this date and this time. If I like this setting, I'll just make sure I hit save. And we also need to make sure that the item is published. If the item is set to unpublished, it doesn't matter about that date and time. The object is overall unpublished and the students won't get access to it. So we need to make sure it is published. And now when we hit that time, that available from time, now it'll show up to the students and we can control that flow. The next two ways you can control the flow of information is in the same spot. So we're going to find the module heading, and up to the far right, we have 3 dots, and we're going to click on edit. Now I'm controlling this whole module worth of content, and I can click the box to lock it until a certain date and time. So if you're working by the week, I've seen a lot of instructors lock a module until the Sunday before the week starts. If you do this, students will see the module heading, but they won't be able to click into any of the items underneath to proceed forward. They have to wait until it opens up. The next method where you could control this flow is by adding requirements. So I'm going to click on the add requirement button. We have some options, so they could complete all of them in the module, or we're going to make them require one at a time so completing one of these items would knock out the whole module and they can move forward. For the sake of this training, I'm going to show you how to use the complete all, because I think it's what most people think about when they want to do this sort of setup. So we'll use complete all, and then we'll also check the box that students must move in sequential order. So we'll check that. And then down below, we're going to start creating this list of items and requirements. And it's pulling straight out of this list of items in the module. So our first one is the overview and to-do list. Do I want them to use this or not? Maybe the overview is just an optional item and we want to instead force them to do the readings. So here's the readings now, and they must view it. Satisfying the viewing is just the students click into it. That's all they need to do. We could also add a second step where there's a mark as done button inside there for the students, and they would have to click that in order to unlock the subsequent parts. So they don't get these parts until they've marked this as done. Now let's add another requirement. So now that they've satisfied the reading by viewing it, let's say that now they need to move forward onto the assignment. So on the assignment, they need to submit. The reason why I chose that option is because this is going to be a manually graded item by me, the instructor, so they at least need to submit before moving forward. Then the next requirement we're going to say is their discussion. We're also going to say they just need to submit the assignment. And then lastly will be this quiz. On the quiz, this is a multiple choice quiz that gets automatically graded. So here I can nicely use the score at least, and let's say they need to score at least 10 out of 0. This is a fake quiz, but they need to score at least a 10 out of 0 before they can move on. So working backwards, they do not get access to the quiz unless they've completed the discussion. They don't get access to the discussion unless they've submitted to the assignment. And they don't get access to the assignment unless they've completed the reading. If I like that setup, then I'll hit save. It might prompt you just saying that you really changed some requirements. I usually hit continue here. There is another method for controlling the flow of information called mastery paths. In my experience, there's some glitches, especially with a quiz. There's a situation where students might end up in a loop where they've completed the quiz and hit the minimum score, but for whatever reason, Canvas has not recognized it, and so they're just stuck. They hit a wall and they can't move forward. There's a way to fix that, but until Canvas sorts that issue out globally, I'm not going to make a video on how to use mastery paths.